Right now, I'm talking with Bryan Giles, a guitarist and vocalist of the mighty Red Fang. I'm gonna assume you're in Portland right now.
That's correct.
Nice, right on, man. So I'm gonna start things off with a question that we usually leave to the end. But Red Fang's a fun band, and I'm just gonna start things off weird. So if you don't mind, pick a scar on your body. Tell us the story of how you got it, and show us the scar if you can.
I guess the easiest one to show you is, well, it's sort of embarrassing, but whatever. It's the most convenient one. Let's see. That. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah,
that
like a little tattoo.
It was my first tattoo. It's a stick and poke. I got in high school instead of listening to a lecture. And it is on top of a cigarette burn because I guess for a second there I thought I was tough and I was on some illicit drugs and I put a cigarette out on myself. Anyway, I'm glad it's still there because I think every scar / tattoo tells a story, no matter how embarrassing.
Is it a dollar sign or a Z?
It's an OZ. Opinion Zero was an excellent metal punk band from Tucson, Arizona, back when I was a wee lad.
Okay, right on, man. So we're going to talk about the new album and we're going to talk about the new music. But I also am curious. So you're in Portland right now, and you know, Red Fang, awesome Portland band, and there's been so many cool Portland bands throughout history. Some like Poison Idea is one that rings comes to my mind. What are your favorite Portland bands of all time?
I'm a big Wipers fan. I think they're fantastic. Let's see. Portland bands. There's a band called The Bugs, which is just one of the most good time garage pop duo. I love the shit out of them. They've toured a lot in France. They're an odd couple of fellas, but okay. I love those guys. Our front of house has started a new band, relatively new band called Ills, ILS, and they're really great. It's Tom Gloss from Black Elk and Lopez.
Okay,
it's his latest effort doing vocals, and it's super caustic, almost to the point of unpleasant, but it's catchy. It's okay. It's really good. I strongly suggest checking that out.
Caustic and catchy. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the new album, and it's called Arrows, coming out June 4th. And first off, did you guys record this during the pandemic, or was it finished before, or what's the story with it?
It was completed in October of 2019. So there's no mention of the coronavirus or any of its subsequent side effects on the record. So you can breathe a sigh of relief there. Any complaining on the record is not because of the pandemic.
You didn't like ham fist any coronavirus mentions, just like throw them in there just to be topical, right?
Yeah, exactly. I hate being in my apartment. I mean, no.
Quarantine blues.
Yeah, gross. Yes.
Because
and that probably exists. It's probably a new genre.
Well, there's a 2 Chainz song called Quarantine Thick about getting, super thick during quarantine. So, there's that.
Well, that's good. I mean, a lot of people just got fat. So, I mean, if he was working out, good on him.
Shout out 2 Chainz. Yes, yeah, man. We're talking 2 Chainz with Red Fang. Okay, so what can you tell us about the record, man? What can we expect?
I'm real proud of it. It's a continuation of our, it's still us doing it in the same style. I mean, the same style of songwriting. That anything that all 4 of us can agree on is cool is what turns into a song. So, but that said, I think this record sort of leans a little into the darker corners of the psyche.
Okay.
It's not a cheerful thing necessarily, but really what Ren Fang record is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I think also I'm real proud of how dense it is with weirdness. There's a lot of strange noises on there that are there. I think they're intriguing, and I know where a lot of the noises came from. So hopefully people can, hit the bong and check it out in that way too.
That is like the best way to promote the album. Like, and you got to get a new one, get a nice new one with like the glass catcher, just like, and get it like brand new. When you touch down with the Red Fang record, just put it on, get the new one with the glass catcher.
Put your phone on airplane mode, yep. and then let your mind take off, bruh.
Oh man.
Or just listen to it,
or just whatever. Okay, so you guys are usually road dogs, and I know this is probably the longest you guys have gone without touring in a while, I'm assuming.
The longest I've gone since I was in my mid-20s. So yes, long damn time.
How you been staying busy and well, I don't know about sane, but a semblance of sane? How have you been staying busy at least? I
am teaching myself to do home recording. And I'm not gonna, be some kind of producer of note or anything anytime soon. But but for my own creative uses, I've gotten there. It's great. I no longer hate the computer. Yeah. The computer is my friend. So I feel good about that. I did not get thick. Sorry, I should probably, I don't know, get some good walking shoes or something. But yeah, no, I did a lot of home recording, and it was really fun, and it's something I have incorporated into my life even now that I have other things. It's become important to me, and so that's pretty exciting, for being a guy who, I eschewed digital, recording as a process for years and years. I was like, no way, man, you get your guitar and crack a beer and that's how you do it. But turns out there are two ways to rock.
Yeah
man, somebody should call the Red Rocker and let him know.
Are these new things that you're recording and experimenting with? Are they for Red Fang? Are they just ideas? Are they for a side project? Or
I've been contributing to other people's crazy ideas. Cool. The lion's share of the things I've done is for a project called Super Volcano 2042, and it's a collaboration between me, my friend, and our future selves. We've been collaborating with our much older selves in the future, and then they send us back the material. And I must say that the 69-year-old version of me is excellent.
Is he super advanced?
Well, he's still grumpy. It's crazy. You'd think he would have worked it out, but no, still grumpy.
How are his recording skills?
Better than mine. Really, I could learn from him.
Nice, man. Okay, so you've been doing home recording studio with everything, and I've been doing that too. I kind of built out I'm underneath the stairs, so I have like a Harry Potter like existence right now, just recording studio under the stairs. But I made it work, and stoked. But now we're talking about the future, but let's go to the past. So I like to ask people like what their first albums was and stuff, but we interviewed you guys years ago at Mayhem Festival, and I think we already asked you that question. So I'm going to go a little bit more random. Growing up, what was the first band t-shirt you ever purchased?
That would be Ronnie James Dio for the Sacred Heart tour.
Nice.
And I was very excited that it said devil upside down. Yeah. So when you look down at your shirt, it said devil. And I was like, my parents don't know that. That's cool. And the other thing, I guess I was in seventh grade, and I had not been exposed to marijuana yet. Late bloomer. But I was like, that's what pot smells like. And I wore it to school the next day and smelled it all day. I was like, that's what knowing now, really low grade weed smells like.
This is what dirt weed's like.
Yeah, definitely. The pot that was in my shirt had definitely spent some time in a car tire.
Was that so? That was one of your first concerts as well, then? The Dio concert?
Yeah, my first metal concert was Dio, Sacred Heart.
Awesome. Well, okay. So early on, going to those shows, getting that band T-shirt. What was the band? Was there a band that really inspired you to like do it yourself?
Well, I mean, I follow, definitely was into, that kind of metal, like Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, Rat Out of the Cellar, that era, that was kind of what was happening. But a lot of, so technically proficient that it didn't really cross my mind that, I could do that.
Yeah.
But it still inspired me to, to play music. But I think probably getting, Black Flag, My War, that record was, Greg Ginn is still a hero of mine. I think his guitar playing is just so unique and aggressive and weird and interesting, but also very accessible to someone, who has, like mitts for hands. I'm never going to do these pentatonic sweeps or anything.
Yeah.
But I think Greg Ginn taught me that you don't need that crap. Just, what you need is intention. What you need is a feeling, and then whatever else you do to get that feeling across, the requisite skills or an interest or having something to say is really all that you need to be in a rock and roll band.
Absolutely, man. And that very, very DIY. And those were that band Black Flag. I mean, some of the earliest of just like gnarly DIY touring. And I know that's what, before Red Fang really got a big name for yourselves. I remember you guys were a DIY, and you still probably, but on a bigger scale. But, I just remember very DIY and very much like just get in the van kind of style.
Yeah, we're still doing that.
Okay. All right.
We have, I don't know, a handful of times gone out in a tour bus, but only because logistically it would have been impossible otherwise. But unless suddenly we accidentally write, Escalator to Heaven or something, we're always going to be in the van, and that's fine by me. I enjoy it. It's very comfortable. It's my home away from home.
Yeah, man. And it also keeps cost low, because those buses are expensive, and
absolutely. I mean, I've seen buses out in front of some shoebox clubs here in town, and just knowing what I know now after years of, looking at the breakdown of what a tour costs, I'm like, man, I'm assuming that this band is getting fronted money for that bus.
Yeah. And
every single penny that this tour makes is going into that bus right now. And I mean, if you're after experience and you want to live the high life and have, heated floors and a shower and a bed and everything is cool, great. You're getting that's a great life experience. But if you're in it to make a living, no freaking way bands of our size are in a bus. It's not feasible.
It'd be cool for a while, but if you're a lifer and you're doing it long term and stuff, it's just not sustainable. So,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think some people would get in the bus because they feel like it's an image thing. And I'm not
optics.
I'm not trashing on that, because that very well may be true. I mean, people are like, oh, what's backstage like? And maybe some of the job is being like, oh man, it's all strippers and we're doing cocaine off the chandelier. That's not what we do. we're like, all right, back into the Scrabble. We're not, rock and roll in that way. But I think that a lot of people, not a lot, there's a certain number of people that kind of want to live through you. Like, man, if I didn't have my crappy office job, I could be out there doing all these crazy exploits like you do. And you don't want to crush their dreams so much, man, saying, well, no, I finished a book and I found a laundromat on my day off. You know what I mean?
And
it's
ate
like
a Snickers bar.
Right. It's like, that's not, I mean, to some degree, maybe you're supposed to fulfill that fantasy for people, but, I don't need all that stuff for me, finding a laundromat that'll fold your laundry for you. It's like, we are living large, boys. You know what I mean? But that really does bring me joy. So, I am living a dream. It's just not, my expectations are a little lower than maybe what you're supposed to have for rock and roll.
I can imagine that would kind of take its toll on you too, is like if the expectations of like, because people see Red Fang on your music videos, probably expect you guys to just be, not partying per se, but just like always there to drink with them and stuff. And maybe if you just want to have a night off, everyone, this is their big night, but for you, it might just be Tuesday night. And so it might not be as sustainable to always, people expecting you to like rage with them. Might be kind of hard.
Absolutely. I've shotgunned warm beers out of somebody's trunk in a parking lot, where this is like the 6th show in a row with like, averaging 7 hours on the road a day.
Yeah.
Just totally fried. But someone comes up, oh man, you got a shotgun this beer with us. We brought it. It's the crappiest local beer we have.
Yeah.
We sort of have a reputation for that. So it's like, all right, so not only is it not good, but it's warm and it's out of your trunk, but it meant so much to them that I'm like, well, I guess that's what's happening now, but yeah, eventually you've got to take a day off and say, no, today I'm going to be super boring. But
hey, you mentioned that Red Fang has a reputation for drinking super crappy local beers. What's your, and we're gonna bum someone out here, but you guys have toured the world. What's the crappiest local beer you've ever had, if you can remember?
Well, I can't probably call one out by name. I could think of some crappy beers. I think Valentine's is pretty damn bad.
Okay.
That tastes like you're licking a dirty car battery.
Yum.
But it's the price point. If it's the price point you're after, Valentine.
Nice. All right, man. Well, I'm not going to take up your whole, evening and whatnot. It's a beautiful Northwest day here. I'm in Seattle. You're in Portland. I know nice. The sun's out. But I just have 2 more questions for you. And everyone knows Red Fang, heavy riffs, heavy rock. But I'm assuming there's some albums that you love that people might not expect. What are a couple albums that you, the singer, the guitarist of Red Fang, world-renowned rock and roll band, something that you love that people might be like, really? Like, is there any quote unquote guilty pleasures? I don't really believe in guilty pleasures as a real thing.
Well, that's, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't, if you enjoy something, where's the guilt coming from?
Exactly.
I like, Kim Carnes is an old favorite of mine, Betty Davis Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fantastic song. I've said many times, Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. I think that if it speaks to you, I mean, not everybody's in a metal mood all the time. I don't know who can possibly. Well, I mean, maybe when I was, a teenager or something, that I was on, my brain was set to angst at all times. But that's not sustainable either. You do have to give yourself a break. One of my favorite Sunday morning albums to put on is Stardust by Willie Nelson. It's a cover album of old jazz standards.
Yeah.
And that album just, it brings a tear to my eye. I love it so much, there's a laundry list of things that probably people would be disgusted by, that are real metal, or I mean, but come on, we're older people. We don't need that anymore.
So again, the new album's coming out June 4th. Arrows, you can pre-order it now. You can listen to the new singles available, and again, support Red Fang. No one's touring right now. I mean, people starting to open up, so people are going to start playing shows here and there, and I hope we get to see Red Fang in Seattle here in the future sometime in 2021, 2022. But in the meantime, support them, pre-order them, buy some merch, support awesome local Northwest rock and roll. Do you have any final words for the Seattle and the local Northwest music scene and before the album comes out?
No, I mean, I not really. I mean, I think what you said is, go out and support music, not just us, but just your local venues. I mean, it made me really nervous just as this thing dragged on. It was like, I know Slim's in San Francisco closed its doors permanently. There's a lot of clubs that were in danger. And so, it's not just bands, it's the people that work for bands, it's clubs. It's a whole, microcosm of it's a community that we all need to support. And so I plan on getting out there, putting on my cleanest dirty shirt and supporting it too. Seattle has always been a really, really fantastically supportive town for us, and I really appreciate it. So I guess what I'd say to Seattleites is thank you so much, and I can't wait to party with you guys again.
All right, Bryan Giles, again from Red Fang, aka, if you see it on the screen, Maurice.
Weh.
Yes. Right on, man. Dude, thank you so much for doing the interview. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, man.